Start recording. Start streaming. Alright, we're streaming.
Oh, hi. What's the thing? Sure. Well, F10. Sure. See if we can get into Windows and not explode. I mean, it did get into Windows. It blue screened when I went to use the boot to UEFI.
Oh, I told people last night I'd be back in a half hour.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a bit more than a half hour.
It's been a half hour if you count
a day?
Time dilation and... please wait.
We're back live.
Windows is telling me to please wait.
Just put into safe mode once. Dude, is there like advanced options? That's probably
see advanced repair options.
And troubleshoot. And advanced options and startup options. The one left down, yeah, right there. And then hit restart, and then you'll want to press 4, I believe it is.
If I fucking reinstall Windows on this thing.
I doubt it.
It's probably just because it blue screened.
Yeah. And we probably could have just said reboot into Windows normally, and it probably would have done that, but... We also did update Pairing automatic Windows repair. It's going straight in. We might have our which one is it now?
There isn't a thing. It's just a code. Stop code.
What setting could have done that? Or do we have the wrong boot device selected as the first boot? Because we didn't even look at that.
It's possible.
It just turned itself off.
Yeah, never looked at that. It's trying to boot to the RAID array.
It might be. I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
But it did get into Windows at one time.
Correct, but it doesn't like something. Because it shouldn't have blue screen going into safe mode.
It never asked me to select the...
Yep, exactly. Like a blue screen going into...
where to select your...
Yeah. Go over to boot. Unplug the flash drive.
Oh.
I'm not saying that's causing it. I'm just saying,
just in case.
And you should just be able to control delete and see if it goes into Windows.
Yeah, it's...
No, delete.
We'll see. Hopefully.
Otherwise, there's some setting we did that it does not like. I'll have to just go through and... Because updating your UEFI, it changes stuff according to Windows and stuff, but it shouldn't make it not boot.
Yeah. Hey, it doesn't say to please wait.
So good. Hey, look at that. See? It just...
Something happened where it
just
wasn't...
I would just restart it once. Probably do a shutdown, just a full shutdown once.
Wait for it to actually start up. Don't try to boot to UEFI.
Yeah, it probably... Because we had never booted it properly. We started tweaking settings. We never booted it once just with the UEFI update.
Yeah.
So...
And I also, when I went into boot with switched to restart to UEFI, it probably restarted a little earlier, and
could have
Windows
been
was
too,
probably
never
doing
happened
stuff.
It's pretty loud.
Is that the laptop?
Yeah, I can hear your computer too, though.
Yeah.
That's all your computer. The fans are running pretty darn high.
Yeah.
We'll have to tweak the fan curve probably. But it's good that it's booting. Oh, is it?
Kernel security check failure.
Is it booting, eh? It doesn't like something.
Turn that off, that setting off of motherboard maybe?
that shouldn't be related to that at all. Trying to think of what setting that could be. That's because kernel security check failure. That's like we already have secure boot disabled. It was supposed to be before, so it probably is as well. Trying to think of what settings we changed that would affect that. Because it's not, I don't think it's overclocking, because so far, like, the other thing, kernel is Windows.
Yeah.
That, like, it's not giving us memory issues, so there's, like, a specific thing it is trying to use that we turned off.
Oh.
You know what I mean? No, that's just a manual, like, because we have our, did you ever set, okay, you set it is set to DDR4 3600, okay. Because it sets memory or sets an XMP profile, it doesn't always set the DRAM frequency, which is a weird issue that happens. Like I don't know. Like there's a security. Like we did some other settings, like just some weird.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking it's one of those that we did. I don't remember what FT.
Do you want to just try to load PTB, the one that was working? PBO.
Will that actually work? Because I thought that wasn't loading the last time you loaded it.
No, it was just that one wasn't. It wasn't that one. It was the one that I had made the PBO update, and it was just because I was sitting there loading it 15 times. And not actually like applying it, and it was hanging. At least that's what we think. So yeah, this one should not have the new thing adjusted. So it should have like the secure boot stuff still enabled.
We would have disabled that previously as well. Yeah, the only thing it might have different is motherboard. Yeah. But it also, I don't think some of those PCI Express 4.0 settings, we didn't tweak any of those, we left those in auto.
Yeah.
But, like that, like I said, I was trying to think of like, because that's a kernel security error, and like, that's not normally stuff you would see from like an overclocking, like you overclocked your CPU too far, or that's not, like it's some setting that Windows is expecting to be on or off, that we have,
turned on or off.
Yeah. Or like, hey, I'm expecting to use this part of the CPU, and we went and bopped it. Yeah. And it just full on killed itself. I'm hungry again, but I really need to get that cable in.
Let it chill on Windows for a bit.
Yeah. And we'll have to see what settings we can poke around with. It's got to be one of those new like AMD settings, I'm thinking, like in that, because that's the menu that when you get a new Agista code, that's what gets updated, is those AMD menus. So yeah. So we might have changed something in there that I don't know. Like I don't think we set anything that should make Windows blue screen. Yeah. Obviously, going back to your old.
It seems to be fine.
Yeah, just run like. Do you have my tools folder still?
Yeah.
Just go in there and run PowerMax for like 10 minutes. So that'll throw the GPU and your CPU.
Test?
Yeah, it's under stress test.
64-bit.
Yeah, and set that to 10 minutes.
GPUs, AVX.
You go into timeout.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Put it to 10.
10 minute.
And then hit start. Hit to start and then hit start again. Like one starts the CPU and the next one starts the GPU. There you go. Just let that run for 10 minutes. I mean, that's about as heavy as a synthetic load as you're going to get without running something more specific. Yeah. And then we'll be able to figure, like if it, we just lost something.
We just restarted.
So it doesn't like something. still. Because it didn't even blue screen that time.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this time just load, like we're going to have to go through very basic settings by very basic settings. So like load optimized defaults. Then the only ones you're going to want to basically change is turn CSM off, load your XMP, set your divider, and turn off CSM.
It's not even going to post on me.
No, I was very unhappy. Whatever. Once again, we like loaded a previous profile. Aren't computers fun? Hey guys that are watching the stream, computers are fun. It's all lies. Go buy yourself a console.
Yeah, I think we're about here.
Yeah, you just have to force power cycle it. So yeah, something about that doesn't like loading that old profile. Which kind of makes sense because we updated the UEFI. You know. But hey, one could hope, I guess. So we're gonna just have to go through setting by setting until we figure out what's making it stupid.
Alright. Back to the lab.
No, I would go all the way, like, go to the exit tab. And there should be a load optimized default. Yep, load BIOS defaults, then just restart it right away.
Save changes.
Yep. And the only thing you're going to load is XMP, set your RAM speed, set your whatever speed.
Yeah.
And then turn off CSM. Oh, you have to turn RAID on too, because otherwise you're going to be missing that drive again.
Yeah. And see if it boots.
And see if it boots, see if it can run Power Max.
And we'll resave that as the first.
Yep.
Hey, we have a picture of things. Okay. XMP. Is this 18? I think this might just be. It's supposed to just be
1800, yeah.
Not 1880.
Hey, that might have been fucking it up. We were running it technically overclocked then.
Yeah.
We'll still step through and I mean you can try if you want to just change that one if you want, but
and then it was in here storage to RAID.
Yeah, and then all over the boot tab.
Save this.
Now you gotta go to boot tab yet. You gotta disable CSM. Otherwise you're gonna have booting issues. Disable CSM.
Cool.
I have F10 save. Theoretically, I mean, like, it won't be the most optimized ever.
But it should run.
Yeah. Windows shouldn't just crash.
If this crashes, Windows might be fucked.
Or we gotta roll back
to
not the latest BIOS, to one older than the latest BIOS. Not ideal either, you know?
But yeah, would ideally be able to run the cool one.
But sometimes they break shit. And then we gotta send a support ticket to ASRock and be like, hey, if we run the latest BIOS, like, our Windows can't boot. We roll it back to the previous BIOS, and it's like, fine. And that's why you always keep your BIOS updates too, guys. Oh, hey, we're gonna have to stop the stream real quick. I forgot that my laptop restarted and I replugged the Logitech camera, and Logitech doesn't remember.
But it doesn't look like it's getting past.
The wait isn't counting down though.
It is when I click.
Something's very wrong. Just restart your computer again.
Yeah.
See if it'll go in. Yeah, something is like 1,000% not working correctly. Because like Task Manager's not opening. Something's fucked.
Yeah.
But it booted fine with your previous BIOS. Once we changed that RAID setting. Okay, so can we go back another?
Oh, there we go. DCP watchdog violation.
Yeah, so something's not That's a power related one, I believe. System files corrupt. It's something's it's very unhappy with something. And this, I think this is probably more related to, because now we're basically running stock settings, essentially. Let's use. That's not even enabled.
Yeah, I know. I just want to make sure it's not.
Yeah, is like the correct amount of memory showing up, like all 4 sticks showing up, are your drives showing up correctly? Because like it's in this case, I'm thinking it might be, was 350 the newest one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe we gotta roll back one BIOS update or something.
Yeah.
Because that to me, it doesn't, like, we're running into way more issues than just a drive not showing up. Like, and we now have a defaulted BIOS to the point where we've loaded an XMP profile, which we know the memory runs at, and it always has run at. And what? We changed the boot type.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't configured anything else. So, my guess, my crooked display here, is something ain't configured right. Like, as in, like, not that we configured something wrong. Website blocked through the malware. What website? I haven't gone anywhere yet. Holy shit, I didn't know there's many tabs open here. Okay. X570 Pro 4M. Or X570M Pro 4. Support BIOS. So we went to the 350 one. The previous one was 2.5. That adds resizable bar. So technically, the newer one has a newer AGISA on it. But the previous BIOS update 340, which you wouldn't have had yet, because we would have been on 330.
Yep.
The 340 adds the resizable bar and the passive chipset fan curve. So we can try rolling it back one BIOS update.
Yeah.
And I remember with my X99 board, I'd run 2 or 3 behind, because after a certain point, they made it, there was a BIOS update that just made it where it was randomly dropping your drives from your RAID array.
Yeah.
Like, it would just kick them out. It would be like, yeah, that one's not there. And you'd be like, oh, I thought my drive died. No, it would just literally kick them out of the array. Because, you know, and like then people would try to rebuild them, like they re-add the drive and all that sort of stuff. And sometimes it would kick a second drive faster than it could rebuild. So then you would just lose all your data, which is great, right? Like, that's exactly what I want my motherboard to do.
Backblaze, smile. Yeah, because this is literally as bare bones as you can get.
I mean, if we go any more bare bones, it actually won't boot, because like it won't have the right kind of boot, and it won't. So let's try rolling it back one. At least this BIOS will still have the stuff we want. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh fuck! Smoke my knee.
10 core. old is that water cooler? Okay, stream is working. That's always good. Twitch is working. It's always good. Yeah, we'll set to see, and I would do the same thing. Just do XMP and the boot options and see if it goes in without crashing, without weird shit going on. And if that's the case, we'll have to send a. You have to send a thing to ASRock and be like, hey, just so you know, as soon as I load up that new BIOS, like, I just get fucking...
It literally doesn't even run.
Yeah, random... Because every blue screen we've had has been different.
Yeah.
Which points to it not being hardware, in my opinion. Or, like, even a specific BIOS setting. Mm-hmm. Because it was a specific one.
It would flick the same issue
or a similar
time.
one. Yeah. You know, like, there's, like, 3 blue screens that are common to, like, memory issues. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or there's, like... There's power, like APC is usually power related. It's not all these are power related. It's not all these, you know, like it's like all these random. I have to reboot, dude. I need to go make some food because I'm hungry. Yep. I want to get this last cable tie in though. Of course, by the way, I just missed the cable tie loop completely. That's always a classic move, you know. And I would just go load defaults because it might not have. Like load defaults, restart once. Pull the flash drive too right away, so you don't run into issues with that. Get a stick on tie down into that clip. That is a question, isn't it?
Computer's fantastic when they work the first time. Frustrating as book.
Yeah, if we would have just enabled RAID or like loaded your BIOS profile and been like, yeah, we're good, we would have been fine. But like, yeah, we really should get resizable bar working because like you can actually use it with your GPU, and if you get a game that has that, you gain like 12% performance. And I'm sure you'll take another 12% performance.
Yeah.
Or up to another 12% performance, right? What was that, 1800?
Yeah, 18.
Because I can't math.
Advanced storage, turn that to RAID, boot down to disable.
Hit back once though, and just make sure you're on fast boot disabled too. Overboot. Over one tab to the right. Fast boot is disabled. That's fine.
I'm just gonna turn this off too, because of that.
I mean that shouldn't affect Windows. Like check.
Yeah, I know, but just
check security too to make sure it's not trying to use secure boot. Over one. Secure boot. Yep, disable custom. Yeah, it should be. Just hit save, hit F10, and ride her out. Because I mean, like those, it was like 2 settings we put in. So.
Should be able to make her into Windows with this basic S.
All right, so we now have, on my build, my server build here, all of our cables are routed, sort of. Look at that. That's pretty clean, you know? Right down, I'll grab you guys on the Razer cam here. Right here. You can see I gotta clip those tie wraps there, but nice and clean. That's for the USB 2 and USB 3. Right there. And I do have to get... I was already going to get a right angle for this USB 3, but I don't think it'd make it right now. Like, it's just a little short. So there's like an 8-inch right angle extension that'll pop it through down here for me. And USB 2, because I went this way also. Like, I could probably plug them in, Preston, but like...
Oh, system thread exception not handled.
Something is very unhappy. Like, what though? And why? Roll it back to even older. The one you were, the last one you were running was the one that's on that flash drive.
Mm-hmm.
Try running it back to that previous one, and see if it still doesn't. It still throws that same error. If so, you might have broke Windows. Like actually,
Exploded Windows.
Yeah.
Which isn't great, but
No. But that would explain.
it's doable.
I can see Windows adapting because it reset. Okay, so we know you were running a non-configured BIOS essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So did it like undo its like load itself to configure for that? Because that's like a downgrade. Now is it having problems like upgrading itself? You know, like because you were technically running on non-RAID drivers. That's probably the most would be causing the most issue because you're like that's a whole different.
Mm-hmm.
Like system driver for the SATA controllers, which now we're not booting off of it, so like theoretically you should be able to change that without any issue. But that could be an issue. The only other thing I can think of is, I would try rolling it back another one more BIOS version,
I mean,
and
it
see if
looked
we
like
still
it was
have
the
it.
same one though.
Oh, like the one you just put on there was
Yeah.
the same as the one we previously had in the
Yeah.
folder? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Shit. What? And that blue screen's right away. Try not doing...
RAID.
No, not the XMP, the other one. The Infinity Fabric.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't think we actually had that set previously. Like, you're
We're
supposed
not-
to have
we're
it set.
not even posting.
You might have to clear the CMOS and...
Just-
Yeah, I mean, sometimes just turning it off manually, it'll power back on, or you might have to flip the power switch on
Yeah, we're just gonna flip
On the power
switch
supply.
and drain it.
or sometimes you have to actually reset the CMOS. Well, I know something that was dumb with the board I bought for the home theater PC, Preston. The micro ATX version had a clear CMOS on the back of the I/O. That's awesome, right? You go to the bigger full ATX version. No, it doesn't even have a button. You have to use the jumper still. I'm like, how did you guys get so far apart here? You put it on the micro ATX one on the back. Why would you not put it on the ATX one? And there's not even a button on the ATX one. Baffled me. But yeah, so here's how that
It's
looks.
turned on.
It's probably because you were just clicking the button so recently. That happens. But yeah, so this turned out cleanly. I need to make some food so I can deal with Preston's broken computer more. I think we broke it worse though, I'll admit.
Hey, we actually posted.
You know? See, I would try to do just those basic settings, like just low defaults. Do the basic settings except the 1800 megahertz.
So RAID, boot, and
You'll have to load XMP, but just don't
XMP
leave
is
the
not-
auto.
Yeah.
And if we know that works, you might actually be able to re-upgrade it
Yeah.
And-
It's not.
and not do that setting.
Yeah.
Yep. That setting might be broken now, or you know what I mean, like because default running of your CPU should be half of your memory. Now you gotta remember though, technically
Yeah,
that
so not
XMP
this
is an overclock. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
So if it's trying to like double that or do something.
do
weird.
something weird. Yep.
Yeah.
But technically, the reason why you would set that is because that link is normally supposed to run at half the speed of your memory. So that's why you would manually set that just to
Yeah.
force it. But if it's doing something weird with that, or for some reason your CPU can't do that, which
Yeah.
shouldn't be the case, but
CSM disabled. Okay. It's just those, not that. Save.
so that's done pretty clean. Look at that. And I can have a shit ton of cable here if I want, because there's no hard drives here. But I think this will be real clean.
We didn't hang on the post screen. Probably gonna post again.
Yeah, you change some stuff. But
Preparing automatic.
Yeah, it's probably 'cause it
Is
just
blue screen.
blue screened a whole bunch. Yep.
We're gonna try to do the safe mode thing. Or
That's what I would do. Unless it might actually fix it if it's working correctly.
Yeah, like you realized, hey, this isn't functional.
A lot of times though, Windows assumes it's broken,
Oh, yeah.
so then it's trying to fix software issues when it's not
There's
a
no-
software issue. Is there just like a restart?
There's a restart.
Just try restart first, because it might have actually fixed it.
Yeah.
If not, then you have boot to safe mode. And I think that because we're switching from AHCI to RAID, that already would have required a boot to safe mode to get that driver to flip in Windows. Technically, what you're actually doing is uninstalling it, and we would have to reinstall the chipset driver again, which we were already planning on doing. So that wasn't really an issue,
I
but
haven't been able to get there.
right, yeah, about that.
Looks like it's going into Windows. Will it last? Computers.
Yeah, we didn't really have it on for very long once we fixed the RAID, if you remember. Remember, we just booted it. We just booted it up though, and like checked if the RAID showed up and restarted it.
Yeah.
Like we didn't actually like.
Make it run.
Yes.
Change its stuff. What?
Yeah, so it might have been broken. That.
Windows Defender Firewall has blocks and features of.
That's fully in home. Just allow access. Surprised you're still running fully, actually. Surprised you're not.
I haven't run it in a long time.
Probably just not installed. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah, be minding them bits, dude.
Yeah.
Get those coins.
Gotta get them dollars.
Hey, I got like $200 now.
Yeah.
227. It's been down because I haven't had a 28 Ti in the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's like, oh, it's because you're mining. I'm like, I set my power limit like at 80% or something when mining. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's not that killed it. Because, and I realized I was actually losing that card for at least a week. Because ever since that, obviously I haven't played like the newest season of Call of Duty, but when the previous one launched, ever since then I've been having a shit ton more crashes.
Shows up.
And Squeers was like, why? Like, it had gotten better for him playing. And then it just got worse, and then I couldn't even run the game, so I reinstalled it. Still couldn't run it after the reinstall, and then the day later is when, like, my computer just shut off and wouldn't output video anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. That's,
So we want to restart this once and then.
I would because we kind of had broken Windows. Restart once, then I would try running PowerMax in this mode.
Yep.
If it works, we've found the setting.
Yep.
That is derpy. Then we want to put in the newest BIOS again.
Try it again.
Do all of our settings that we want.
Mm-hmm.
Without that,
Yeah, that.
technically that divider should work by the way, because it auto should actually just take your memory and go
And
half.
that number is.
And
just
you can't.
telling
Okay, the other way to do it is 1-to-1. So it can't do 3600 because, as you saw, you went all the way to the bottom list trying to set it to 3600. Yeah. That's not an option.
Exist, yeah.
So if you had memory that was below 3600 speed, it would run 1-to-1.
Yeah.
But we don't. We have 3600. So it runs a 2-to-1 ratio. Now then, anything above 3600, it should run a 4-to-1 ratio. So it should even run. It wouldn't run it at 1800. Yeah. It would run it at like 900 megahertz. Now who knows if it's doing that? I don't know. It shouldn't, because and technically even with 3733, you wouldn't be able to get 64 gigs of RAM though, because 3733 only comes in.
It's not jacked up to the point where even the process lasts. So
yeah, and that's one that would get messed up if it's something up with the CPU, because like you remember, it's controlling like what threads are doing what in relation to Windows and stuff like that. Yeah. By the way, guys, you should be like Preston here, and he should buy Process Lasso. Yeah. And throw them $30, and then be fine for all like.
And never have it ask me.
Yes.
Again.
Yes, and get free upgrades, and get dark mode when it comes out soon. TM. He's working on it. He's even gonna make the title bar dark. I don't know if you've noticed that with a lot of programs though. They'll go like dark mode, and the title bar won't be dark.
Nope. Bad. Try to see if we can even run this for 10 minutes. This only made it like 45 seconds last time, so.
And that's what, like. That's a nice program for doing stuff like this. Like say, or if like you want to see if a laptop's just gonna like thermal throttle or something, you just toss this at it, and like it's nothing super complex. Obviously, like it would be better to run like Furmark or MSI.
To see what actually
burn whatever thingy, or Prime 95 or any of these various other things. Yeah. But because this literally gives you like 2 start buttons and a timer. Like, it's simple.
Easy to use. You don't have to change any settings. I'm going to go to the bathroom, and if it's still running when I'm done,
you're going to consider it a win?
It's a dub.
Okay.
A massive dub boss.
Oh, I didn't think we were on this camera that's not focusing right now. Alright, I gotta go figure out food, guys. Now that this... Yeah, I'm moving these. Alright, so on, for those wondering, on the Define 7, because it can take XL-ATX motherboards, you have 2 places for your 24-pin and your SATA that are... Oh, we can grab Razer Cam that I just turned off. Razer Cam. Alright, so here's the default one. There's normally these covers in these outer ones that you would then remove and move these over if you have a wider motherboard. I'm actually going to be doing that in this case just to make runs of cables easier, because they're going to be a little bit longer, which means you don't have to worry about the sharp bend as much. And then because I don't have to worry about a motherboard touching it, I'm going to put these covers back in to the other slots that, like basically just swapping it. In this case, using the wider ones will make it easier to run cables for me. Because I'm going to have everything full, like full in here. Now that's why I got the XL case, because if I could have technically fit everything that I use into the normal Define 7, but that would have been, and I did that with my Define R5, but that would have been a tight little brick. Because this is a server and I can put wheels on it, I would like a little bit more elbow room, if you know what I mean. What do we got time-wise? It's a little bit after 11. I don't have that much longer.
Oh my goodness, it's still running.
Those snap in real good. Yeah. Like, real good.
I'm convinced.
Alright, so. Okay, those are in now. I think that's gonna be way easier to cable manage around, Preston, you know? Yeah, I don't, like, the cables will look longer. But you know, like you had to do it before, like, where you have to make that SATA cable that tight turn into the port?
Yeah.
That's just kind of pain in the butt, you know?
Yeah, it's there's two of them.
Two of what?
It's the same.
What is?
The
like the old version and the new version?
Yeah.
Okay, well now you can, now that ran like that, I guess we found the setting that's probably causing the issue.
Yep.
Like I said, there was one in there that, and I don't know if it's your CPU can't actually do that, which could be, technically that's overclock.
Yeah.
Or if the ASRock motherboard's applying some sort of dumb,
Double.
yeah, setting.
When we were in the Precision X, and you put the 200.
Oh yeah, on top of the 400 or whatever that was.
Plus 200, yeah.
Because we didn't know that it actually already applied. Because you saw the documentation for that. It is garbage.
And it goes away after
Yeah.
it.
It's like, we did this! Okay, but where is it? We did that!
Are you sure you did? Because
Well,
there's no numbers.
I told you I did that because this system's the only other fully updated one I have.
Yeah.
It worked on the 1650, even. I use MSI Afterburner because it's an MSI card.
Yeah.
But it turns out the reason why that works now is NVIDIA builds that scan thing. It used to be that EVGA and MSI all made their own. But NVIDIA was like, yeah, you guys do a shit job. So, you know what? We just made it for you. Here, just put it in your program.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's so simple. You just press the button and it works now. Instead of... Because, like, before it would, like, run some external benchmark and then... You know... I think this is pretty darn clean. Like, from here down, it doesn't have to be all that clean.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking of making a little ramp here, because I want this fan to come up to cool... Like, the power supply is going to have its own fan. And I did that for, it was like the one security guard that was at Best Buy when I was there. Yeah. I made him like a little piece out of, poster board or something. Mm-hmm. Like that foam poster board.
Yeah.
That way, this fan is shooting up into here rather than just cables and a power supply that...
Yeah, it might add a little bit of noise, but not enough to really...
So... That's a lot of stuff I can do, like, once the system's up and running, though,
yeah,
you know?
It turns on and it actually does things.
I need to start making foods, and then I'm going to bring down the parts for my... the new parts for my home theater PC, because I would like to get that. Like, literally, I have the... Remember I have that Antec case that's, like, basically pre-wired with fans and power supply?
Yeah.
We're just going to chuck that in there, throw the CPU in, throw the NVMe in, throw the RAM in, because I got to get that mem test going. Because I want to, if that's bad RAM, you want to do that within the return policy, not... Oh, you can do it after.
It gets more complicated.
Yeah, like, that's like this thing. This thing's been here, you can see, it's full of dust. It's been here for months.
Yeah.
I really should have taken care of that already. So if that RAM's bad, it's going to suck. I mean, Crucial is usually pretty good about it, but it's a lot harder than just yelling at doing big, you sold me crappy stuff!
Yeah. Give me the good stuff.
Or like with my grandparents, oh god, Screw's not going through that. Dude, I finally just bought them FlareX memory, which is what the home theater PC is. That's like first gen compatible AMD stuff. I had the, was it GIS? Something like that, but that's like the cheap FlareX. So like, it doesn't go to 3200 even. Like it's like, but it's AMD compatible, but like doesn't have heat spreaders on it. But I had 5 sets of that. Out of 5 sets, I didn't have a single set that had the passed mem test. And I was just... And I even bought like a different SKU with like a worse cast latency at one point. Like, so 3 of them were the faster cast latency, 2 were the worst. And I was finally just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just spent $5 more for FlareX.
Yeah.
Because we were already under the budget. And first set was fine. And I'm like, okay, technically compatible with AMD, my ass. Like just... No, we're just...
So now I only buy FlareX, or because that's up to 3200 megahertz, or I buy the Neo, because that's up to 36. Supposedly G.Skill is coming out with a new, not new RAM. It's the same as Neo, but with a new heat spreader on it. Because technically, if you remember, Neo is made for your CPU with 3000. 5000's out now, so I think they're going to brand whatever this new one is as 5000 compatible stuff. Yeah. Supposedly, it's the same chips on the inside, though. Gotcha. So, I'm thinking they're probably doing another version of Royale. Like, you know, like, some, like, crazy, you know, like, just because G.Skill likes to do that for whatever reason. You know, just like that really bling-bling. That's what Squares originally had, because they didn't have Neo. But while we were building his system, they announced it. So we returned the Royale. Dude, that stuff was so hard to handle. Like, you would fingerprint it like looking at it. Mm-hmm. Like, and on the bigger sets, like if you got like your 64 gig kit, they would like give you white gloves with it, just to handle it. Yeah, because if you got like they'd be like, yes, here's a pair of white gloves. Yep. Just so you can handle your memory. And Preston's like, you think I clean my computer?
Yeah, that's a funny joke.
Alright.
We should go grab food. Yeah. I'm just gonna throw this on, we're gonna see if it goes to Windows. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, my mom said she bought another pizza. So I'll make that.
Alright.
Because I don't think anything's open anymore, is it?
Quick Trip.
What are they gonna have now, though?
Probably nothing.
Yeah, like... Because even our Walmart closes at...
Yep, same.
1 now? Or midnight now? I'm not even sure. Dude, did you hear the thing? Like, Walmart's gonna use less robots?
Yeah.
Think about that. Humans cost less than robots, guys. Think about that. Yeah. Humans should never cost less than robots.
But see, they're gonna then, frame it as though it wasn't because they cost less, but because
of course
they care about their employees.
Yeah.
They care about communities and getting...
Yeah, and getting people jobs and stuff. Well, the reason why they can do that is because then if anybody like, oh, I was sick for a day in a month. Yeah, you're fired. Go, we'll get somebody else.
We'll hire the next guy.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, and their reasoning behind it, why they got rid of the stock robots, the ones that just go along the aisles to check what's in stock. They're like, yeah, because we have so many people out there picking up stuff for curbside pickup. They can just see it, like, because they'll walk by and see that it's empty. Yeah. And it's like, wow, like.
And I'm curious how much those stock robots would get fucked up by people like grabbing things and then not putting them back in the right place.
I think they just look at the shelf. Like, they don't look at if people do that, because there's a way that, like, I know from working there's a way that you stock the shelves. Mm-hmm. And some of those places also have stocking robots, too. So, and that's why if you notice, they always, like, even the baskets of fruit there now are QR coded. So, like, a robot can do that, because it'll know, like, it goes beep, and then puts a, like, so they more go off of, like, you're not going to fill an individual thing of ketchup anymore. There's going to be like a box of ketchup, a tray of ketchup. So that's how a robot can do it.
You don't take them out of the cardboard.
Yeah, or if you look at their entire section with like pens and pencils and paper, all of that is in its own, like you rip the top of the box off and you put it there. Yeah. So that's what the robot is checking. So it's seeing if it's like if it's deep, like how deep, like are there boxes of boxes there? Yeah. And then the stocking robot would just come along and
there's less of things getting shuffled because you literally have to take the case of ketchup and put it.
That's what you used to do when I worked there. Was like you would decase everything and put like individual things in there.
Yeah, you would
which is dumb because like I never understood that. Like, why do I not just put the case of ketchup?
Moment of truth.
You're right. Like, why would you not just put the case of ketchup on the shelf?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, because then if you get the people who buy 10 things of ketchup at once, they can just grab the whole case, and then you can scan the side.
Yeah, the whole thing is those like it just never made sense to me. Like, why? Like, say if the 2 liters come in a case, why would you put them on a rack that goes up there when you can just put the box of 2 liter?
Windows actually works.
You just put the box of 2 liter up there. Yeah.
Windows is actually working.
But yeah, that's. But yeah, the only reason why they switched off that because if you've been at our Walmart, and a lot of other ones have been updated to do the same. They widen the aisles so the robots can fit in there. Mm-hmm. That's why people are like, oh, why'd they do all that? And they actually, technically, in most, like ours, lost one row.
Yeah.
Because of that. It lost one going this way and one going that way because that extra space has to come from someplace. And then if you notice, like, everything's QR coded. All the aisles now have, like, I think this is good in general, just accessibility for people going there. But, like, all the aisles had those, like, very big markers now that say, like, this is aisle, like, 15. Yep, exactly. And then even when you now walk in, they actually have, like, a small map telling you, like, direction this way is and this.
If you go on the app, it's super sick because you can, like, just my store on the website when you go to their website page, my store, and then it will tell you what aisle.
I want to say Home Depot or Best Buy was one of the first ones because Home Depot started that when I worked there.
Yeah.
And Best Buy, it will literally pinpoint, like, show you, like, on the store map where it is and then, like, what shelf.
Yeah.
Now, if you manage to get an item like I frequently do that's not located yet because, you know, I buy things when they're brand new. It's not like things that are like, oh, where is, like, most people are looking for, like, where is the Alexa puck?
Or the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm looking for, like, a mouse that just came out 2 hours ago. You know what I mean? Like, or some weird HDMI adapter.
On the truck still.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna unplug the thing. It already seems to be working.
So it's the divider.
Yeah. Infinity or whatever.
Yeah, the that should work though.
We just got Thanos out of the
whatever, right? Okay, fine. At least we figured out what it was.
Yeah. We're gonna run this while you're up there.
Yeah, I'll go read the oven for pizza.
This has been fun. Just add an extra hour to the fucking dicking around with computers.
Then we got chicken Alfredo, bacon mac and cheese, or bacon cheeseburger, and we got mac and cheese pizza.
What was the middle one again?
Like bacon cheeseburger.
Oh. Doesn't sound bad.
Got that one?
Sure.
Just picked them up, so.
This is promising. Real promising.
Upstairs. I forgot the PC parts. You want to move that big magnetic tray though? The big, yeah, because I gotta put this server. I'll put the little one back because it's empty. These will probably end up being needed. Oh, I ended up having to use the Noctua extensions finally because I didn't have any other extensions. And then I couldn't find. Like I found the like a 5-pack and a 6-pack of the cheap ones on Amazon. Real easy. I found those in my history. Couldn't find the 10-pack, and I remembered why. Nathan was the one that ordered them.
Oh.
So they weren't in my purchase history because...
Nathan bought them.
Yeah, Nathan's the one that bought them. And then it turned out... then I even had the package, and on the package it has like the like the Amazon code.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't bringing up anything. It's because they changed their brand. It's the same. If you go to Nathan's, like I found the link finally in a work or a history that I sent him. It links to the new one now, like it redirects or whatever. But that's why searching like the make and model didn't end up going correctly because it wasn't the same product, even though it is the same product. And what it is it's like $11 for 10, and normally it's $6 for 5.
Yeah.
Or if, like either way, it's like a couple dollars cheaper. And we use enough fan extensions that a lot of times you'd be ordering like 2 packs of 5 anyway. So. Oh, and then I found a new brand today, because those are 10-inch extensions, right? I found a new brand that's $1 more, right? But they're 11.5-inch extensions. So, that's probably what I'm going to go with. You know. But, you got that. Do you see any cloths around here? I had blue ones out. Oh. There they are. They're under the body.
I'm gonna say 48% seems pretty solid.
What do you have it running now?
All
the settings or just
well, this
the new BIOS?
This is just new BIOS, XMP. I don't know if I switched over. I think I switched the RAID over. Yeah, I would have, because I can't run this if I don't have RAID on.
Oh, it's on the RAID array?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And the boot. So, but I think this is enough to. Oh, it's nice and toasty, warming up the legs.
And you're running both those at max. Let me go and run it and get the extra parts that I was planning on getting. The oven is preheating.
Okay.
It's like 20 minutes till food's done. Probably only have a little bit after that before I gotta go sleep.
Yeah, I have to drive home tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be a fucking terrible day. Terrible, I mean long.
So then you want to dial in all the correct settings, the ones we were trying to do before everything took a shit. So I'm gonna switch over to the Razer camera, and we're gonna go in for a look here, a look-see. So what we have up here is. There we go. Motherboard. B550 Steel Legend. Managed to get this at the cheapest it's ever been since its release. Things are starting to go on sale again. Think about that. PC parts on sale. That's madness. I was also looking at the Extreme 4. Only difference between the Steel Legend and the Extreme 4 is the Extreme 4 has onboard power and reset buttons, which would be nice, but it was like a $5 difference. However, on sale, it's like a $25 difference or more. Then for the boot drive, just like Preston over there, 980 Pro. I did one up him, and I got the terabyte though. This has to be my games drive and my boot drive though.
This is what I get for being lazy.
What'd you do?
I tried to load one of the old ones.
You're probably not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's probably because we borked that setting. Do you think about that?
Yeah.
So 980 Pro, I got a 1 terabyte. The reason is right now in the home theater PC I'm running a 280 gig Optane boot drive and a 500 gig Intel 730, I believe, SSD. And the 500 gig, that's for games if you're running. The 500 gig is almost full. And I would say, like, by default in Windows now, I'm used to running about a 500 gig boot drive. So that's why this terabyte's for both games and boot. Just because of the way that the B550 is laid out. If you want to use all 6 SATA ports, you can't have a second M.2. Just be aware of that. That's how it works with AMD. And then, because I'm cheap, I went with 16 gigs of FloreX 3200 RAM. If you're running, like, I give you guys crap for buying 16 gigs nowadays. But do be aware this is a home theater PC / gaming PC. That's all it does. I would never go with 16 gigs for, like, a productivity machine. Because, you know, your Firefox, Chrome, or both would just kill that in no time. But yeah, so if you're, like, in this case, it's just me browsing the web, watching a lot of anime or movies, stuff like that, or gaming. And right now, at least, games do not require more than 16 gigs. So, you know, for now, this will be fine. I'll even be able to run it without a page file, I'm pretty sure. Now, is my, like, laptop there, which only has 16 gigs, I wish it had 32, because I have to run that with a page file on, otherwise I do go over the 16 gigs. However, for something like this, where I'm actually going to be doing one thing at a time, and, I actually run full screen for video games when on this, which I would never do on my desktop, since I'm always doing something else. So 16 gigs should be fine for here. Otherwise, eventually I'll probably get, because this is like a secondary system, I'll probably get some DDR4 trickling down from another system at some point. Like HTPC has 32 gigs, but it's only 2933. And now is that 3900 in there, so maybe it gets upgraded RAM at some point, then I can go in here. Or say if this RAM is needed for the repair PC, which is over there, once that goes to a DDR4 based system, I can then put better RAM in here and then pass its RAM along to the repair PC. So, you know, you kind of use excuses to upgrade other computers to, you know, upgrade this one. Oh, I can use that over there, stuff like that. So for now, especially to fit in a budget, it was more important for the bigger SSD, which was the most expensive part here, than it was for more RAM. This will be plenty for what it's doing. Since I'm trying to really minimize with a separate server and a separate home theater PC, the home theater PC will be doing far, far, far less, especially at once. And CPU-wise, we're going to be using a 2600 that was in the server, but then now that the server got Chibi PC's 1700X, this guy can now have the 2600. And the main reason why we're building this, even though the server's not done and it's not replaced and stuff like that, is because I need to test the memory. Right, Press, we've all had bad memory right out of the gate, right?
Yeah.
It's far too common, I think, for them to just send you bad RAM. Like, you know. Is there a way to delete?
No, but I can just save over the top of it.
You might be able to actually delete. I'd have to look it up. If you name it empty, it might empty it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't worry about it as long as you know. Please work. Yep. I have one on my system upstairs that's named RAM is dumb, because like the memory in there is 3200, right? But once I fully populate it with 128 gigs, it will not run at 3200 anymore. What'd you do now?
I hit F9 instead of F10, and it loads defaults.
Good job. Good job, dude.
And then when I went to load my save, it freaked out.
Yeah, like I said, you might just have to not rely on saves as much as you should be able to. But
yeah, I think the issue there is I think when I loaded the defaults, because I saved it, loaded defaults, but didn't restart it, and then tried to load the old ones again, it freaked out. So hopefully I should be able to go in here and see if it's on defaults, because I didn't save changes, so cool, it didn't.
So for those interested, I now keep a case around here. This is an old one.
Oh, you fucking bastard. What the fuck? Oh, yep, it didn't save any of mine because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, you know. You're better off F10 saving than you are worrying
Yeah.
about saving a profile, if you're wondering.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, don't save a profile until you know it's, like,
SMT
worked and booting and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, above 4G, resizable bar. Onboard, get out of here, onboard audio.
But, yeah, so what this is an old Antec 300. Was Squeers's, actually. Has been upgraded with all SwiftTech Helix fans. They're all pre-populated. It's up into a PWM hub in the top here. I can grab the Razor Cam. Razor Cam. Okay, here's Razor Cam. There you go. That's what it looks like. It is super not anything special. The nice thing is 650 watt power supply. Fans rewired up with fan grills into a fan hub. So you just gotta plug this guy in. And you might have to move around some standoffs for whatever motherboard size you have, but otherwise it's pretty much plug and play. And that's what we're gonna do. It's basically my test bed. I don't have an actual test bench because those cost a lot of money. But this is wired up to be, you know, a fully contained PC. Only thing it doesn't have is like a boot drive in there, but that's easily resolvable if needed. Even has an optical drive. So we're just gonna chuck the motherboard in here, plug her in. And basically I need to get that memory testing. Because knowing my luck is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so nothing. This isn't anything too special, but if you guys have an extra old case that's still decent, and I always, you know, that's a kind of was it a bronze power supply probably? Yeah. 80 plus bronze, 650 watt. This will power most things out there, you know. I'm not trying to stick a 3080 in there.
That's what my old power supply was as well, 650, 80.
Yeah, and unless you went to a 12 core and a 3080, so like the 3080 is why you have to upgrade.
Yeah.
Because everybody wanted more powerful graphics cards, and Nvidia did give it to you. They just also gave you more power hungry graphics cards. You know, but it makes sense, right? Like, if it makes more room, it probably needs more, you know, go juice.
Yep.
So we're gonna open up this B5. Dude, our motherboard boxes just getting like fucking like
clean and cool looking.
This is massive though.
Yeah, it's giant for.
And this is like a mid-range motherboard.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't some Tai Chi or.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, the B550 Tai Chi is only $20 cheaper than the X570 Tai Chi. So why you would ever buy the B550?
Yeah.
I have no clue. And if running this Steel Legend, half the price pretty much. I got it for almost half. So, and for the home theater PC, where the one thing I have noticed to save money is you do not get additional PCIe slots on here. So you only get one 16X.
Yeah.
And then that one is a 4X that goes through the chipset. On a higher end board, you would get like that would be split out into either two 8s, or an 8 and a 4 and a 4, or something more. You can tell because it's a more budget board. This isn't like the Pro 4 like you have is technically like there's one lower than that. Now for you, we didn't really have much of a choice because now by the way with B550. And I don't know if it's because micro ATX is considered like a cheaper thing, and then you're more likely to use the cheaper chipset. Maybe that's why they have more options. But they have 3 options for micro ATX with B550, which is technically like the lower end chipset.
Yeah.
Because like on yours, everything's PCI Express 4.0. On B550, it's only the M.2 and the graphics card. Nothing else is 4.0.
Yeah.
That's a pretty clean looking board though.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Extreme 4 looks way cleaner because it's all blacked out. And you can literally tell all the Extreme 4 ads is a power and a reset. Which
are just not attached. Which
Yeah.
if you could buy separately, could potentially...
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I wasn't too bugged at buying, you know, like this one.
Yeah, because was this one of the two that you linked to me? And
Yeah.
you're like, I don't think I can see a difference.
Yeah. I literally couldn't.
Yeah.
So go for it. It has an integrated rear I/O.
Okay, this peel's way stickier than I was expecting.
Well, it's probably still stuck on this down here. I gotta snip off.
Maybe I want the bigger snipper. Oh no.
Hey, people at work are finally having to use my tools, and they're finally like, "Oh, I can see why you bought that. Oh, I can see why you bought that." I'm like, "Yeah."
It's like when I just multiple. That very expensive build that came in right at the start was worth it.
Yeah.
And now everybody else is gonna put in a very expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is with everything that we wanted before, except without the
Yeah. Oh, you don't have the maxed out numbers, probably.
the maxed out numbers. This
Because
is just
those. Well, now you can actually try those.
yeah, that's what I was saying, but I just want to make sure we're not gonna immediately break. Oh, I didn't want to go into Chrome, but.
See, you were proving why Wi-Fi can be useful, but you know what I mean, like.
Yeah.
Also. Not. I even had a client now that bought a data vac. They saw me using it there and like, what's that? Where can I get one of those? I'm like, yeah, you go on Amazon, buy the data vac, buy the one that's $10 more, because it'll come with filters. Because getting filters, like I don't have one with filters that came with extra, very, if not impossible, hard to get. At least from my experience.
Yeah.
Whereas if you spend $10 more, like they give you like 5 or 10 filters, and the filters are just foam, so you can wash them. But when they get clogged, it's far easier just to swap it and then clean it out when you have like time, rather than be like
have to clean it
in the middle of doing a thing.
Try to dry it, have it, yeah. Okay, looking good, looking good, looking good. I like it.
Yeah, I would have preferred the Extreme 4, but then when I wasn't even planning on buying this soon, because like the server really realistically needs to be done and everything transferred from the old server to the new server before the new home theater PC goes into place. But like I said, this motherboard on sale, I checked using Honey as well as it's called Camel, and this is the cheapest price this motherboard has been at ever, like just ever, and it was the cheapest by like $15. So I thought that was probably a good time to buy it.
Reasonable.
By the way, this does have, probably can't see it here. Let's go laptop webcam, I guess. Oh, you can do Razer webcam. This does have down there a 8X and a 4X CPU power. You can get it to go just on the 8X, which is what I'll be doing here. Hey, I got Pony Sarge ready for NVIDIA keynote for the cards you can get. Yeah, he's talking about the non-mining ones.
Mm-hmm.
I told Squares to keep an eye out for those because that's probably when... Well, the other thing that's going to start up that I'm going to try and get on, and I might get some, like you and somebody else to help me out, is the queues should restart, because those are new SKUs.
Mm-hmm.
So the queues should restart, which means I have a chance, rather than, like right now, if you enter a queue, like...
Good luck.
Yeah, it's going to be how many months? Right? Like...
Oh, no, not that one. This one, Manuel. 9s. Input valid. Yeah, input. Hey, it just told me. Invalid input, auto adjusted.
Yeah, so like I said, it should.
That's working even better.
Hey, you know.
I wonder if we also might have had a quasi questionable update or something.
Could be.
Part of it didn't go through or something.
Hey, we figured it out though. So.
But we'll hit F10 and we'll see if it just Windows just doesn't even run. I can't read those super small messages from over here.
He says 3080 Ti. Supposedly all the 3080 Ti's are already sold out though, and they're listed for $2,000.
Yeah.
They were actually sold out like a month ago.
Yeah.
The 3080 Ti's. And that was before they announced that they were reducing the mining potential of them. I don't know how you get things to sell, and like, are you pre-selling like before you even know how much stock you're getting? Is that what they're doing? Like, it could be.
And then as they make stock,
like they fulfill their pre-orders. I don't know. Yeah, they're like legit, not like legit retailers, because those don't list them generally prior to. But like they were retailers listing 3080 Ti's for $2,000. And remember, guys, the 3080 Ti is just a shitty 3090.
Yeah. It's hard to believe that my my 3080, which is not a 3080 Ti, but because of when I got in the queue, it didn't get absolutely blasted by the tariffs and all that other kind of stuff. Because
you looked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just. That's why I try to get EVGA whenever I can. People are like, "Oh, you're like brand loyalist." I'm like, no, they've just done me good. Like they legitimately
So, yeah, they could have totally just been like, "Oh no, tariffs went in. I know we told you you'd get this."
Or like MSI, where they increased the amount. Oh, we suspiciously have to increase the amount of our graphics cards about the amount of the tariffs.
Yeah.
By the way, that's before they put tariffs on.
Yeah.
And they said it's because of tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
Tariffs come like once it gets imported to the U.S.
Yeah.
They don't come like when the supplier buys it from MSI. But it broke down to that exact percentage. And I'm like, MSI, that seems a little sketchy. By the way, guys, if you haven't noticed, I don't particularly like MSI. And then you're going to be like, well, why do you own 2 graphics cards from them? I'm glad I have any graphics cards right now, to be truthful.
I had to.
Yep.
Necessity,
Yeah, like when a PNY, a base single fan PNY 1650 is the same price as a dual fan overclocked MSI 1650, I'm going with the dual fan overclock.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm not really sorry. So, Yeah. Alright, so we're dropping in the Steel Legend. Oh, the other thing that Extreme 4 comes with is a backplate. There is no backplate on the Steel Legend. See? No backplate.
So are we running off Logitech now, or
we're on that Razer camera angle is actually pretty good. Like, that's the Logitech camera.
I'll cameraman while that runs.
This is gonna suck. I just realized something. Okay, here's the M.2 Wi-Fi, right? You gotta screw that into there.
Oh yeah, and you can't take that off.
You can. There's a whole.
How do you fish
fucking
that?
whack ton? No, there's just a whack ton of
you
screws.
have to take it off completely.
Yes.
Oh, that sucks.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we gotta get
These
Wi-Fi
2
antenna ports through there.
that go here.
Yeah, and they have to go through.
There's a little spot there for them.
Yeah, yeah.
But you actually have to take that off.
Or you can just try to really fish them through.
But this doesn't come off though.
Yeah, I know. You fish them through, it'd be impossible. It literally would be impossible.
Or you might be able to just take off the I/O with this. There's 2
Yeah.
screws here for the I/O.
Yeah.
What length? Well, you can figure that out. I gotta measure because remember, like, there's different lengths you can get those cables and those antenna cables, like when you ordered yours. Yeah, we're dropping this brand new, fancy, not really fancy motherboard, somewhat fancy motherboard, into a. How old is this case?
That lighting is really fucking with the camera.
Yeah,
so
you're better off just not.
There's not.
What I really eventually need to do is put a light right above the, like right here.
Yeah.
Be honest, having one of those. Put more up on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then just right. And I might do that at some point. Yeah, I forgot that I have to go.
It's a little tight squeeze there with all the cables.
You gotta put the front power buttons and stuff under the motherboard.
Yeah.
And then you're good. Generally speaking.
As long as you don't have a connector.
Yeah. Well, here's where it goes.
I assume this one doesn't have a pin, not a case.
Oh, yeah, no. These are different standoffs then. These are like those generic black ones I have. So if I found a pin one, I could put it in there. But, yeah, we're going to use the Mr. Snap-on here. With its long drill bit. And I think these will work.
That's a lot of, I can't read text.
Whoa, who's here? Power steering. Surprised you aren't dropping the cooler and RAM and M.2 drives in before you put the board, considering much more room in that thing. Yeah, I could do that. But like right now, all of our workspace is kind of taken up, so I'd have to like do it on my bed, which I feel kind of safer doing it.
Yeah.
Here. I mean, we could do that, I guess. The back plate's gonna have to. You have to do that.
Oh yeah, because it's an old ass case.
Yeah, there's no CPU cutout.
Yeah.
One of these days I will make one.
Yep.
Get out the Dremel.
We shall force it.
I'll make sure the mic's really close to the Dremel when I do that too,
Mhm.
just so you guys get the awesome spark noises. And I mean, you'll be deaf too, but that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is, because this is a steel case, you can just grab it by whatever and just manhandle it.
And there's.
Grab our motherboard box. Okay, I gotta go find that CPU. That's what I gotta do.
Okay. Well, while you do that, I'm gonna go.
Oh, I gotta look for we gotta
set
put
the
the pizza.
camera back down here.
Yeah, find it. I think the oven's probably heated for the pizza too.
Yeah.
Pizza, 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 pizza.
Good enough.
That's the CPU.
I trust that's good enough.
Okay, here is CPU. Ba, 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 ba.
I am looking for.
Dude, I'm starving. So yes, pizza. Pizza
Yeah.
dance. We do have an M.2 around here someplace. Here. We're going with 980 Pro. And yes, we're running at 2600, so this won't be running at 4.0 speeds. But I fully expect to, at some point, probably fairly quickly in this thing's lifespan, go to a 3000 or even 5000 series CPU once they're more readily acceptable. You know, like, especially when 6000 drops with, that'll have a new socket. So, hit plus. Yeah, you want Ryzen Master, hit download. Hit save. Where is, scroll down, where is there? Okay, scroll up to the top, then go to chip, drivers and sport. Drive up, way up. But there. Then you want to go to chipset on the left, there, chipsets. And then AM4, X570, way at the top. Hit submit. And then,
Gotta find the product.
no, shouldn't have to. Once it's gotta just actually load. We're running on like
we're running on little nubbins.
we're running on a Wi-Fi without actually probably that download.
While we're downloading
Yeah.
Ryzen Master. Yeah.
We're running on Wi-Fi with no antennas right now, guys.
Yep.
Not the fastest. Well, actually, it's probably latency that's really being killed. But
Hey, there we are.
so now this next question is, do I just use the... I have an H60 over here, guys, but this is really just a test system, so I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I might find like the OEM one that just bolts right onto it, you know? Yeah, because I mean, I can mount an H60 in here because the back fan is really close, you know? But, like, do I really want to mess with that? For a system that ideally is together for like a week or two?
I just bamboozled my brain. I went to lift it up and I thought I dropped a screw, but
Here,
it was
I'm gonna like just take this and put it in that one, and your life's gonna be better.
No, but this thing's so cute.
Yeah, it's good for like when you need to get into certain places. Yes.
Yeah, that's off.
You know. So yeah, just pop. How this one works, you just pop the old M.2 in there. I think it'll sit here. If not, we gotta find a standoff and a thingamajig.
In there.
I'm gonna go find cooler real quick.
AMD chipset.
Yeah, just install it. Alright. We're just going with a stock cooler.
This 131 megabyte update is like taking.
We could have downloaded it on the repair PC and put it on a flash drive. Probably quicker.
Probably could have, but.
Now we're just going with the stock cooler. I think this is the 2600 stock cooler. If anybody has the better ones, let me know. And not the clippy guys. I don't want the. Yannick doesn't have the clippy guys.
Yeah.
Not one of that. They have ones that have copper cores and screws. Like this is first gen. First gen Ryzen came with screws. Later on, they went back to the same cooler that came with the revised like bulldozer CPUs. Real dumb. I mean, it's a fine cooler. It's got heat pipes and stuff, but I don't like the clippy mounting mechanism. I want screws. You know, I want to go burp 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 like that sort of thing. And yes, it probably seems a bit weird that I'm using a B550 for 2600, but like I said, this thing will ideally do my home theater PC for a good long while. And kind of like how Preston plans on, or say when Preston goes to a 5950, I could buy your 3900 off you and drop it in here. 2600, 3900, that's a pretty good upgrade.
Yep.
You know, just like I dropped Squares 3900 in that thing. That's how a lot of my secondary systems get newer parts. Is like, oh, Preston's like, I'm gonna go buy a 1080. I'm like, yeah, how about that 960? You know, it's
Yep.
So CPU's in. We got to buzz off.
It's like trade for a bunch of fans for the difference.
Yep.
Or whatever else we need. A case. You know.
Make sure you keep these screws and these clippy dudes, because you might need them. Or what you do is go buy DeBauer's kit. If you have an all-in-one cooler. Oh, here. This is what you use now. I have... I don't know if you've seen these before. Snack size Ziploc baggies. These were really hard to find. There's one company on Amazon that makes snack size with a zipper. And people are like, why do you need a zipper? I'm like, because you're going to reuse this. You know? And you just, it's way easier than have to like, you know? Snack size Ziploc baggies, guys. Miracles happen in this world. Miracles. And they're probably like, you're calling a freaking snap size Ziploc baggie a miracle? Yes. Yes, I am. And thanks to whoever, which guy was that was in the chat? That was Power Steering. Thank you for, tipping me off to that. Normally, I really wouldn't care if that had a CPU cutout. Like, because it's not that hard to mount.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of times it's easier to mount the CPU cooler if you have a water cooler with the motherboard in the thing. And usually we do water coolers, I would say. Like, either I'm doing full water cooling or we're doing an all-in-one.
Yeah.
We're not usually doing...
And you're not usually building in a case that's ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody wants to donate me a test bed, I'll I won't take it. Not take it.
I assume chipset software first.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you'll need that to run Ryzen Master.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, dude, they're getting smart at this. Check this out. The longest post is the longest it can take.
Yeah.
So you don't need a standoff
size,
and a screw and all that shit. So all I should have to do then is peel the peel, and this will never come off. So that's why I'm not worried about peeling it. If you guys were putting a temporary one in there, like say if we wanted to use a different boot drive temporarily, don't peel it. That'd be my recommendation. Because you can always also line up your thing before you before you do the business here. There we go. Make sure that card's that drive is coming out with it. It's still in there. That's fine though. Okay, there we go. We're stuck down. Once again, for those wondering, I will grab the Razer Cam and we will go over. Here you go. Okay, so before I screw that down,
Pretty much all these.
this top M.2 here, this goes directly to this bad boy, the CPU. Right? PCI Express 4.0. Pertaining you with CPU good enough. I know it has CPU good enough, so I'm going to have to go in the BIOS and tell it use only 3.0. It should auto-detect. You might have to extend the magnet guide. Otherwise, if you're using, is that just Philips 1? Because this size is also Philips 1. You don't have to use that like super short bit unless you really want to. The only reason why that super short bit is nice.
It's a little, I think it might be, sure, it's a little big, I think, actually.
A little big.
I don't know.
It should just be Philips 1.
Oh, yeah.
Theoretically, should just be Philips 1. Yeah, it fits fine. Yeah, because technically that little one is also Philips 1. That's both of those. It's just a skinnier Philips 1, if that makes some sense. If you guys are wondering, we have bits up here. They're super skinny. These are actually Philips 2. Like, here's normally a Philips 2 screwdriver. So you can see they're way skinnier. Over here, this is still Philips 1. That's Philips 1. It's even 3 mil thick. Then you can get 2.5 mil thick. Still Philips 1 though. So the one that Preston's putting on here, that's for the SSD. That's where you want your boot drive in, generally. Or if you don't want your fastest drive as your boot drive, either way, put your fastest drive in the one that goes directly to the CPU. This one down here goes through the chipset. One right here. We're not going to be using that one because if you use this one, you lose your ports 5 and 6. So we lose SATA ports. I can't lose SATA ports because I need hot swap and optical drive. I have a hard drive hot swap for watching like ISOs off of and stuff, and an optical drive. And then I'm going to have 4 3 terabyte drives, the one from not my current desktop. Remember when I used to have editing hard drives? I still have those. Mm-hmm. So I have those in a RAID 10. That way I'll have a place where when I rip like Blu-rays and stuff, before they go on the server, they can sit on here. So I'm going to need all 4 of those ports to run a RAID 10. But yeah, so be aware, especially on B550, not necessarily on X570, but the lower end B550, if you use your second M.2, because that has to go through the chipset, it will knock out ports 5 and 6. So you can't plan on being like, I want 2 M.2s and 6 SATA devices. No, you either get 2 M.2s and 4 devices, or 6 devices and 1 M.2. Also remember, this goes through your chipset. So if you have SATA drives, and you're transferring from this chipset NVMe to the SATA drives, it's much slower. It halves the speed because you're going in and out to the same device. Generally
through the same gateway,
essentially, yep. So that's one thing to consider. That's why, like, realistically, not using this second M.2, not a huge thing. Also, B550, even with a 4.0 CPU unit, chipset stuff is still 3.0. That's how they cut costs. So, like, you know, you have to have active cooling down here because you have 4.0. Not an issue here because it's only 3.0. So, and realistically, once again, home theater PC, not concerned. So what's going to happen is, the graphics card, and if you notice, I bought a board that there's an empty slot here, so essentially a 1X is an empty slot, so I can get those new chunky 3X cards. Because in my current home theater PC, I purposely had to track down a 2-slot thick one, and the mid to low end cards in 20 series, getting them only in 2-slot was very hard to do.
Yeah.
Or nowadays they keep doing that 2.5 slot, and I'm like, just put the third thing on there so people can't try and jam it into other stuff. And then this 4X slot goes through the chipset down here. That'll have my 10 gig Ethernet on it. Now it's going through the chipset with all those SATA devices, but I don't know if I'll be using the SATA devices and that at the same time. Yeah.
And if you do, it's very rarely.
Right. And we're transferring all my server has all hard drives, so realistically that's not pulling the full. Did you hit install?
Just all of them, right? No.
Yeah. So this setup is good for me. If it was my main desktop, not good. Because I would want that 16x lane chopped into 8x, 4x, 4x. Because I want as much of that going through the CPU, as much as that 4.0 is. And that's why you buy an X570 board, not a. You can put those on those hard drives if you want. The 1 through 4 you can put them on. If you want to do something. But just put that on top of the box, yeah. And you can use the ones that go on there are here. Woo! The screws that go on there are these. You're putting it on. The port's got to be on the back where you.
Yeah, that's where I had it, but didn't. Oh, we did live.
Yeah.
Did I have it flipped?
Which?
Probably had.
Here, you want the old school snap-on? Our RC car?
Okay.
That's right here. This there. Right there. You can have the RC car snap-on.
Yeah. The Formula One. Did you watch Monaco?
It's a B550. It's Gen 3. Don't lose SATA ports. Say ASRock Phantom was the board I worked with where that happened, but I haven't seen it on any others. It's pretty common on all AMD. If you use the chipset NVMe slot to lose SATA ports 5 and 6. That's pretty much. It's been like that since B450 for sure, if not even in B350. It's been a while since I've used the B350 board. That wasn't an ITX one, because mine is ITX for B350.
Did you watch any of Monaco?
No, I haven't. Haven't had a chance. And we're going to use up some more of this Ecotherm here. Do be aware, correct way to mount this is AMD logo away from the RAM. A lot of people get that wrong, and they can't put it in their closest RAM slot. Now, for us, it really doesn't matter, because I only got 2 sticks, and this is going to be going on for a matter of a week or 2 at most, hopefully. If it goes on for longer, I'm going to start, hating myself, so... I find it really odd that this hole, by the way, is the perfect size to put thermal paste in. You know what I mean? Like the...
Yeah.
Alright. So we're dropping on the cooler. But yeah, if anybody has the better stock AMD heatsinks from first gen that use the 4 screws to mount, hit me up. I'll pay shipping and take it off your hands. I really don't want to pay more than that, you know what I mean? Because this is the only time I really use it, you know. Alright, so that's mounted on there. This is just the stock, I believe, 2600 one. It's the all aluminum, no copper core, no, but it does mount with the 4 screws, which makes my life super easy.
There's supposed to be a little bit of play in this.
Yeah, for the rubber. Because they're spinny things. You don't want the spinny of this drive to rattle through the case to spinny, can bump around the other drives. So yes, that is exactly supposed to be doing what you're thinking it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, just because I just want to make sure not that all of a sudden, I'm supposed to be torquing these down harder and then I pull them straight through the...
And let's see here. CPU fan 1. Plug it in. Okay, we got our CPU fan there. Yeah, I've seen that a lot on cheap MSI boards as well. And if you look at even up to the B550 Tai Chi from ASRock, it's like that. Now, one thing to be aware of too here though on these boards is they do have the M.2 Wi-Fi slot. I think that knocks out I think it's the 1x below the GPU. Now, if you have a 3x slot GPU, you can't use that 1x slot anyway, so it doesn't matter. ASRock seems to be pretty smart about the layout of their boards. You know what I mean? Whereas Asus, Oh yeah, you can just cover up a totally usable slot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or like, if you notice, ASRock also tries to step their first PCI Express slot one slot down from the CPU cooler. So if you have a bigger CPU cooler, hopefully it won't, like, it shouldn't impede your. That was an issue with the original Noctua NHD15, not the D15S, which is offset upward. So like ASRock tends, and then they put the M.2 there. So if you have a downdraft CPU cooler, it's getting cooling from that. Now it is getting the heat off the GPU, but they have a decent heat sink on it. I would much rather have it there than buried under the GPU, which is where Asus like to put it. Now that is where the Wi-Fi card is, but realistically in the home theater PC, I'm using the Wi-Fi card for Bluetooth. You know what I mean, for controller.
Yep. Yeah, that's about 80% of what I use mine for.
Or like setup, like down there, I'll be using it for setup of it, but. We just got 3200 megahertz Flurex. It's fine because it's only got a 2600. Maybe once I go up to, like, say if I get Preston's 3900 or something else. Nathan might upgrade his. He's got a 3800, I think.
Yeah.
So then I can upgrade the RAM. Generally speaking, it's the 2 slots farther away with slots in between. If you're running 2 of the 4 slots there, this is now ready to go in. But yeah, personally, I would also say avoid MSI boards. Sounds like I'm hating on MSI. It's because I am. It's the sad truth, right, Preston? Just. Oh, isn't it that one who you brought over? It was it Brandon? I'm trying to remember. Like, remember that board, the computer that I fixed that I wished I had taken pictures of because it was just so fun.
Yeah, no, that would have been Keith's friend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Guess what board he had? MSI. Guess what? A lot of those like iBuyPower, CyberPower. Guess who they use?
Yep.
MSI.
Yep.
You guys want to know why they use MSI? It's the cheapest.
Yep.
And I can tell you also, if you look at ASRock's build on their cheap boards, like the Pro 4 or lower, and then compare it to Asus's boards that are priced higher but are competing, like they're $10 or $15 more. Asus won't have heat sinks. ASRock will have heat sinks. ASRock will have the better layout, so like your M.2 isn't overheating below the GPU. They'll also have this 1x spaced a full slot, so if you do only have a 2x GPU, you can still get to the 1x. 1x slot. Asus will put it right below right below there. So it's just this they seem to care more about the low end user, or at least the guys, maybe on a bit more of a budget. Whereas Asus is yeah, we put some giant flaws in here so you'll buy our better shit. It just feels that way. Yeah, the Steel Legend spec for spec, probably the perfect board for my use. There is one board slightly below it that has very, very, very similar specs. Oh, geez. Did you get this out of over here?
What?
Oh, it's just hitting all of their magnets. Did you get that from up here, or did you get this guy from someplace else?
Well, no, that was the little guy.
Yeah, this one.
The little guy.
Oh, the little one.
Yeah.
Did it have the magnet on it?
No, that magnet was just stuck on the side of one of them.
I got you. Like that, probably.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how did this work? They will not cooperate.
Yeah.
By the way, these little magnets, guys, just buy them. Yeah, they make life better. You can now get them in more colors. See, I got a red one to match the snap-on, and I got a green one to match the green snap-on.
Alright, these are all...
Did you grab the new NVIDIA driver?
No.
Grab that too.
I don't wanna... Yeah, I think I'm just gonna uninstall this here, folding at home.
Yeah, no, the Gigabyte board since AMD started. I think since AMD started, ASRock has had a good chance to catch back up with their Tai Chi. The Tai Chi boards are fucking knocking it out of the park. And then Gigabyte definitely stepped back up as well. They started coming back with some of their designs. For a while there, Gigabyte I would have considered them some of the cheaper, lower end boards. Prior to Ryzen coming out, it was not... they weren't looking too good. They had a lot of issues with their UEFI, which they redesigned completely. I used to be 100% Asus, to be truthful.
Uninstalling, folding at home.
But in recent builds, let's just say we've had a lot of issues with Asus. And then once we have issues with Asus, we have issues with Asus's RMA department. Getting an RMA through Asus is like, I don't know, man. I think it'd be easier to get a job at like the CIA or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's, and we've even spent more to get like the advanced RMA, where they're supposed to check the board before they send it to you, and then they send you the board first via express shipping, and then like because then you know you're getting a good board, and you pay for the shipping then. You know what I mean? And you're supposed to you're supposed to get a working board. 3 times I've done that now. They have sent us a not working board. 2 of those 3 times, the replacement board that they then sent us was also a not fully working board. And I'm like, Paul's Hardware helped me out on one of those, and then on the other one, I actually know a decent connection with JJ from over at Asus. I had to poke him. He's like, I don't know what I can really do with it, because I'm not like customer support, but you know, I'll talk to somebody because, you know, aid. Oh, and by the way, the reason why it's so hard is Asus at the time, hopefully they fixed this by now, but are you ready for this? Preston, they don't have anything in place for when they send you a broken board in an advanced RMA, because they're supposed to check the board before they send it, so it's not supposed to be broken. So when it comes broken, they have nothing in place to like fix that or remedy that issue. Think about that. What are you looking up?
I just remembered I have GeForce Experience.
All that nonsense.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm mad at GeForce Experience is because it does the auto-update driver thing, right? It doesn't delete your old drivers.
Oh.
I had 64 gigabytes of NVIDIA drivers on my desktop.
Nice.
64 gigabytes of NVIDIA drivers.
GeForce.
Pizza's done. I'm sorry, but 64 gigs is too much. It should clear out its own drivers when it installs the new one. A lot of places I've worked that do builds use MSI. They always use the cheapest stuff possible too, though.
Hot 1 megabyte a second on our little nubbins.
Alright. Yeah, let's just say we've had a lot of... Like, Asus boards are good till they break. Then you're, like, kind of fucked. MSI boards, I've had a lot of them be bad, but I think that's a lot to do with... Like, motherboards, I should say. I've had a lot of those be bad, but I think that has a lot more to do with, like, the boards we're dealing with are literally the cheapest motherboard... Like, the people I was working with was like, yes, we need 48 of these systems. Sort by MSI motherboard, sort by sort by motherboard, sort by cheapest. Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, BioStar's a bit too sketchy.
Yeah.
So...
At least one of these is in game.
Yeah. Pizza is out, but we gotta, like, cool down a little bit. Asus, like I said, had great experience with them. I've used them for a long, long, long time. But... back with 79 especially. We just had so many RMAs with them, and they were such a pain in the ass. And, like, getting them to realize that, like, a process that, like, how did you not plan? Like, I understand that you weren't supposed to ever be able to be sending me a bad motherboard, but you did.
You could send one that you tested.
Yeah, and then, like, I can tell you, like, I'm kind of against buying Gigabyte, because, at least graphics cards, because it took them 3 months. 3 months to replace a 1060 I had. Or, sorry, that was a 970? I think it ended up with a 1060. Because it was an ITX 970, and they would just take 2 weeks a pop to respond to me for it. And then, eventually they're like, yeah, well, we don't have any of those left. Can we just get you a 1060? We'll have to ask our manager if that's okay, though. I'm like, why would you not just talk to be like, hey, manager person, we don't have any 970s left. Is it cool if I offer him a blah, blah, blah instead? That way I could just be like, yes or no, that's not it, you know.
Now, if you say yes, you still might not get that, because...
Exactly.
Manager person. Yeah, it's just definitely a weird chain of command, or chain flow.
Yeah, and then they also, when they initially offered me a 1060, they offered me a standard 1060, and I was like, you guys do realize the only reason why I bought your product was because it's an ITX one. It's a little tiny card.
Yeah, it needs to
be a little tiny card, like...
Yeah.
So, and they were trying to give me, like, an OEM reference style, too, like, and I had an overclocked edition 970.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you guys need to check yourself. And, like, also, like, why would you offer to ask your manager to do something? Like, just fucking ask him. Yeah. And then don't, and it's funny, I worked in retail and PC repair, like, in retail PC repair for many, many years. If you did that every time you dealt with a customer, like, you probably wouldn't be doing your job too long.
Yeah. Because then customer would be like, well, you told me you were going to do this.
Yeah, and not like, oh, I'm going to try to do that, blah, blah. No, you figure out your solution, then you present it to the customer.
And then if they say no, then you go from there.
Yeah.
80% of the time, as long as it's not, like, ridiculous.
Yeah, I've had that happen before, like, where like, no, that's not acceptable. Like, I need you to toss in the new setup, too, and I'm like, sure, fuck it. And even as not being a manager, I'll still say yes, because I'll just do it, and because I don't want to have to deal with...
It's easier to ask for permission, or ask for forgiveness than it is for
yeah, and because, also, in that case, that's a labor thing.
Yeah. Like,
you're not writing off product.
Yeah.
You're writing off, like, time, which is... I don't want to say cheaper, but it's easier to, like, rather than, like, physically giving a customer a thing that they have not paid for. Just being like, yep, we'll spend an extra 10 minutes for you. And, you know, like, it's not that hard to set up a computer or whatever. Now, will I be, like, nice and set up every little thing, like, export their QuickBooks and all that bullshit? No, probably not.
It will run.
So I hit next. Oh, I love when people... Back when people would pay me $40 for a new setup. Yep, just hit there. They're like, I couldn't get through it. It kept asking me for an account. I'm like, okay, here's the pro tip. When it asks you for that, you hit no. They're like, yeah, but it says, like, I can't. I'm like, yeah, if you hit no to that, too, you're good. They're like, wow, really?
It's just trying to very heavily suggest you to do that.
Or in case now with Windows, you have to tell you don't have internet. Yeah, I can't do the online account setup because I just don't fucking have internet. I know I'm a caveman.
Yeah. And
sorry.
I'm using a Windows 10 computer, but don't have...
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
I really should have downloaded this on the other.
Yeah, I can see that as an SI or like a, you know, like if you're a PC like a company, you could a lot of times, like, you arming is different than the customer having to arm things. And that's why I think, like, I don't know if have you watched any Gamers Nexus recent videos where he's talking about, like, you should check him out. He's going over, like, pre-builts, like, in, like Linus did the buying experience, stuff like that. He's going more into, like, how they're built.
Yeah. Like,
and the quality they are and stuff like that. And he's surprised about how shitty a lot of this stuff is. I'm like, no. And I message him.
They put in the fancy GPU, the fancy CPU, and then, like, power supplies.
A single 8 gig stick of RAM?
Power
and a non-rated power supply? Yeah.
Some janky, something that just provides enough power that it turns on enough to say, hey, that's okay.
Yeah, or he was complaining about what Dell's still using all this proprietary garbage, blah blah blah. I'm like, yup. And as somebody who actually does PC support for a bunch of businesses, I know it sounds dumb, but that's easier. It really is. Like if that company just always buys Dell, doing repairs in those systems is super easy. Now, yes, you as a third-party person at home who bought a single system, it's not great. You know what I mean?
You can probably just get by with an Express, right?
Yeah, unless you want to purposely reset a whole bunch of all your graphic settings and all your games, Express is the one you will want. So yeah, like those Dell systems are definitely 1000% not designed. They're designed to be built quickly and power LED. Oh, this one's got a split power LED because it's old. Stupid old computers. Says the guy who put this together, you know. Hard drive LED. But yeah, so I'm not surprised at all about anything that he is finding. Like Dell literally went and made like the cheapest 1660 or 1650 that they like humanly possibly could. Like went out of their way to power button, reset button, to like use like the cheapest available components, like minus the NVIDIA GPU on there, which they obviously can't change. They probably would if they could. You know, it is literally built as cheaply as humanly possible. And I will say too, like those CyberPower iBuy powers, like what did they have? I forget. Like he had one like something like really like the slot was broken in it, like the PCI Express slot and stuff like that. And I'm like, yep, saw like multiples of those. And the number that we would get in, like with cracked side glass, like you would just get like you get the box in, and then you hear like a maraca, like, and you're like, oh, well we're gonna have to call the customer and tell them there's a delay.
Yeah. Well, why is that?
I really wanted to just shake it over the phone, like. Back when I did that Antec case review for, but when Antec was trying to kind of come back initially, the first case they sent us had a blasted side panel that was shattered, and was a maraca.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motherboard. Installed, Preston. Huzzah. Now we're going to have 24 pin installed. Hey, look at that. When you tie wrap it all nice and neat, dude, it just goes right in.
Like hurt this cat away from computers.
And then we take our fan thingamajigger that runs all of our case fans, and we plug that into, what do we got here? We got chassis fan, water fan, something. Sure, doesn't really matter where. I mean, if you're running this as a CPU fan, like I have an additional. See, if you had a cooler that did 120, I got an additional one just for that. And then there's an open port on the hub. You just pop it in, and then everything's controlled under one. This thing is as set up to just drop shit in as possible, basically. Then you just plug in your 8-pin, which is all pre-routed and cable managed in and tie wrapped in. I actually have a stick-on standoff up there that's just stuck specifically to keep the connector up there. Oh, and we got here. I had to make it fit in something, Preston. Take a look
I
at it.
remember when we had to carve stuff off with other connectors.
Well, back when this case was, this is actually technically the USB 3 from this case is from the next case, because this is the original Antec 300. That's from the Antec 300 V2.
Yeah.
So, but that was before they really knew, like, hey, we don't have to worry about SATA drives because we got that NVMe in there, you know?
Ryzen Master warning. Damages caused.
Yeah, just hit OK. There might be a checkbox to never yell at me again. And then you want to go to, have you restarted since it's on all this crap?
Yeah.
Okay, once you restart, then you want to go to, not advanced view, we don't care about that.
Well, let's go to advanced view anyways.
That's basic view, right there. And then you want to go to auto OC. And then hit apply and test. So let it do its thing.
It'll restart by itself?
Yep. And you don't have a password, so it just goes right in there.
Yeah.
Alright, so this, I mean, double check if I'm missing anything. I guess I could plug in the front USB. Right? Well, that's audio. We don't fucking care about audio. So we're going to tuck Mr. Audio.
And then we'll run that hot Cinebench.
Alright. So I got front USB 3. I got 24 pin power. CPU cooler's plugged in. 8 pins plugged in. We got our fan stuff plugged in. And you know what we're going to be using, hopefully, to run this, if it's not broken? Because somebody knocked this card on the floor. I had to repair it.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw that.
My 760.
Yeah.
Fucking...
You had it on the red shelf, right?
760.
Yeah, you had it on the red shelf, right? And it got
Yep, somebody knocked it off the very top. Now, I think... Look at that. I think I did a pretty darn good job of that. Like, all that is pretty much...
Yeah, hopefully.
Straight. I don't know if anything else got damaged when it hit the ground, but if you guys are wondering why I keep a 760 around, it is like the last generation of NVIDIA cards that will work with UEFI and without UEFI with CSM enabled. And this has Windows XP drivers. You're like, Windows XP? Yeah, exactly. So I used to have a working X58 system that also had Windows XP drivers that worked.
Just stab.
Yeah. Oh, just pick her up, put her in your lap.
Stab, and then I die tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I always forget about that. Just because you live with a cat so long, I always forget about that.
Running stress.
Even my mom was like, when I told her about he's like, wait, he's allergic to cats? Didn't they have a cat? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, that's how they figured out. He went to college.
Yeah.
And there weren't cats around him. She's like, oh. Yeah, that's slotted in, I think, the way that it's supposed to. Like that. Might be a little bent up more by this connector than it should be. So,
she just wants attention.
Yeah, it's time for sleep.
She knows that food's done. Alright, G.
Okay.
Stress test successful.
What did it give us? What does it say?
I don't know.
Oh, there, apply successful, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you're good. So you should just have to...
Reset.
No, not reset. Reset would
Oh,
reset the test.
Okay,
Yeah, just minimize that to taskbar, and you probably should update that at some point.
Yeah.
And it's a big update. You have to do it in it, and by the way, once you update it once, it'll ask you to update it again.
It's done.
Yeah, there's like a huge update for Malwarebytes right now.
Now we run.
Oh, and then we got our PCI Express power, which on this older power supply there's only one cable.
I was.
What's up?
I was running Cinebench out of the downloads folder.
Does your test still work, or your OC still work on your graphics card?
Yeah.
Does it still apply though?
Yeah.
Not that that affects Cinebench, it really doesn't.
Yep.
Yeah, you may have to rerun that scan because you installed a new GPU driver.
Let's see if I load this guy. There it is.
Alright, so if this doesn't post right away, I'm going to blame the 760 that fell from like, what, 4 feet up?
Yeah.
Not the rest of the hardware.
Cinebench.
And
This
You
doesn't
know, I
minimize.
could probably put the 580 in here first to make sure. That's what we should probably do, is put the graphics card that we know works in here first, shouldn't we?
Don't show a warning message. Okay. Is there a minimize to thing?
What was one of the other options in there? Settings.
Just these.
Just hit OK, and then.
See, I want to minimize this.
Oh, I think it'll stay running.
You just close it.
Yeah, if you just close it. I think that applies it to the motherboard. Like, that's just a graphical
Yeah.
control panel to the motherboard.
Yeah, because it had to restart to change the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. At least.
Okay. And then we have to turn minimum test duration to off, I believe, to just have it run once.
Yeah, I just thought about this, Preston. Should definitely put a GPU that I know works in here first,
Yeah.
then put the broken GPU.
Yeah. Or like potentially broken.
Yeah, or the GPU that got dropped on the floor from
Yeah.
very, very high. Alright, so. Okay. Yeah, somebody, I don't know who, somebody was over here, knocked, and I don't think it was like you or Squeers, because you guys would have like been like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I think we
And then-
heard it too.
Yeah.
Like,
But sometimes friends of friends are over or whatever, and you know, yeah. See here, MSI. Gotta put this horrible piece of shit in here. RX 580. You know how much this is on? This would go for on the reseller market right now, dude.
way too much.
Yep. Now I know this RX 580 works. That's why I'm using this in here. This is actually the one that's going to go on the server and be used for virtual machines and stuff like that.
That was way lower.
Are you on the correct Windows power profile?
That would be.
It's in normal control panel. Like old school control panel.
Yeah.
I might have it pinned. Yeah, all control panel items. Windows power. It's just power options. It goes left, right,
Yeah,
alphabetically.
I know, but
It's dumb.
mm.
You put it on high performance, not AMD Ryzen balanced. Go down to. Now, generally speaking, no, just normal high performance. Yep. Now, normally you want to run on AMD Ryzen balanced because it does a better job of stuff. Try running it with that and see. That's R23 you're looking at, not
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
So now Squares has been playing with that too. Like, he's getting like with a weird.
Cause yeah, I had hit 17447, which is way above that.
What did we mess up that caused that last time? Oh, you've process lasso installed. There's a thing that we had to unreinstall as process lasso. There is an issue with that. I mean, like, it's with the new chipset driver, I think. Let me let it run through, but I have a feeling that try uninstalling Process Lasso and run it. It's not actually an issue with Process Lasso. It's either a Windows update or with that new chipset driver, with that new Agisa. That's what we found fixed his, was uninstalling Process Lasso. He reinstalled it later on and it was fine. It was just
and
something...
that's probably why he couldn't get the code or whatever, the discount code.
Yes,
Potentially.
because now it's his thing's reset, like his
He's
timer
been on it for less time. Yeah.
a week now, essentially, it looks like.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'm gonna, if you wanna let me down by the other screen, I'm gonna plug this in and see if we can at least get a post. And then, if we get a post, stick the 760 in it. Hopefully it posts, and if that's the case, go eat food. And then we'll stop the stream.
Yep.
But I have a feeling, yeah, because he was getting really low. Like,
Yeah,
I was
he
getting
was low
better. I was
compared
getting
to me.
better benches than on the 3900X in there.
Well, yeah, he was getting lower scores than me. And
Yes.
Yeah, we had.
And he's got a much better CPU than you.
Yeah.
Now you're up to 13689. Yeah. Try uninstalling. Once I'm. Oh, you're waiting.
Yeah.
Try uninstalling
The lassos.
Process lasso. And based on his experience, you'll be able to reinstall it. It's just something with the power profile. Or like the management of the CPU or something. Oh yeah, this one does have 2.5 gig LAN as well. I mean, it's not like 10 gig or something, but better than nothing. Right? Alright, let's flick this power switch. First boot, guys. Oh, it's got a fucking RGB. Let's get it turned off. Trying to watch a nice movie and I just get disco mode coming out of my computer.
It just helps the ambiance.
I mean, I guess I could have it sync up with what's on the screen. But
even then, it's not going to really do what you're really hoping for, I don't think.
Now, the first boot on AMD systems is always ungodly. Hey, I was looking for this!
Mm-hmm. Hidden in the open.
Yeah, it wasn't stuck on the side of It kind of works. It would work on the back, because that's not... It doesn't have the metal, the veneer on it.
Yeah.
But... Come on, post, computer. We believe in you.
The monitor is in fact on.
Is it?
Is it? I don't know. Looks like it is. It looks like it wasn't.
Oh, okay. Well, what's it yelling at us about now?
No HDMI signal from your device.
So it hasn't posted yet. We're at 4D error code. Great. What's 4D?
So I assume it's just uninstall process lasso through apps and features.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the right one. Apps and computers. Surprisingly enough, my work does not allow me to access programs and features
Yeah.
on our work computers, which is unfortunate because like I can't uninstall Skype for Business and other stuff like that that we don't use anymore, even as a company. But it still is stupid, and even though you set it up to make it so it won't launch on startup, it still launches on startup because I also can't go into Windows and adjust the apps that start up on startup in Windows. And then
the only way to kill Skype for Business is you have to sign in.
Yeah.
And then there's in preferences there's a checkbox. Even if you disable start on startup in Windows, it doesn't stop.
But we have it done as well, and it still starts up because it's just terrible.
Are you ready for this? There's no 4D debug code.
Oh. Process lasso from Bitsum.
Yeah, I wouldn't reinstall it right away. I mean, if you have it uninstalled, just restart, rerun your test, see if it fixed it.
Oh.
I mean, you'll want to eventually reinstall it because it does help with, especially when you're doing multiple things and not just doing a thing. Especially with the more cores that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we go straight to 5 in D. There's no, and that's definitely a 4D. Yeah.
So.
Let's make sure I got things plugged in correctly. HDMI into the graphics card. Plug. Plug. Shouldn't need anything else, right?
And CPU plugged in. Yep. And RAM plugged in.
These are all.
Yep. Is the graphics card's thing spinning?
Yep. I don't know if this is one of those ones where it turns it off when it's not. No, because it's the reference one. Those don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't need a BIOS update.
I think you wouldn't, because it's not like a new CPU.
It goes straight to 4D. It stops on 4D. Well, yeah, the only reason why I might need a BIOS update is this is actually an older CPU.
Oh, yeah.
This is this shipped for 5000 series. and I'm running a 2000 series in it. So I know that sounds weird, but I might need a BIOS update for the older CPU. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of ass backwards, but 4D. Well, let's try to swap RAM. Maybe the RAM's that bad.
4D error code on
Rock B550.
4D seems to be a RAM issue.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Try one stick and slot marked A2.
A2. Oh, I already had my headlamp on. What do you know, right? See, that's what I was going for first. So, because how dare you have good RAM out of the box, right?
Yep. Non-existent.
Okay, that was in there. Alright, power up. 15, 63, 07, 54, 4D again. Okay. That could be the bad stick.
Could both be bad.
It could both be bad.
You have Dominator Platinum in my...
Those are DDR3.
Oh.
This is an issue with DDR4. I actually had to think about the press. When's the last time I had to buy new RAM?
Yeah.
Like, never.
Yeah.
Except DDR4 RAMs. I'm having it. Like, I literally have no DDR4. That's why people are like, you're buying 16 gigs? Why would you buy 16 gigs nowadays? I'm like, oh, because the system doesn't really need any more than that, you know?
Finally got my 59X, so I started working on building my new PC. Started with this 2700 from another system. So
4D instantly.
So I could flash the BIOS using the new memory, and I could not get the system to post. Debug code stuck on 4D.
Instantly goes to 4D.
B550 does not support 2000 series CPUs.
It sure should.
That's what this guy said.
I don't want to have to rip out the 3000 series. Because I checked on this B550 should though. Like, that's why I bought this board.
Yeah.
Okay, this should be the Steel Legend.
Well, we're still at 13. So I don't know what.
Try running the AMD thing again, like applying
The Ryzen Master.
did it? Yeah. Was there, because we went to auto, auto OSC. I don't really care about it. I don't know if it'll do auto in advanced mode. I don't think it does auto. Well, it's because they assume if you want the advanced mode, like you're just gonna do it yourself then. Did you run the test before you tried doing this?
No. But I mean, I have what I had.
Correct, but like we've updated BIOSes.
Yeah.
So could it be a BIOS setting that's actually causing this, not this? That's. I'd try doing a applying test again just to see what it'll do, but otherwise, try reverting just to motherboard instead of advanced.
Yeah.
For the.
Yeah, for those numbers.
Yeah, instead of those numbers, just run. Yeah. Okay, specification. Yeah. We might be screwed here. I swore it had CPU support list. Well, they're correct. 2600 is not supported by B550. Crap. So, I swore I read that it was though. I thought one of the guys from the Discord also checked that like this motherboard was after a specific.
Will you shut it off or not?
Yeah, you can shut it off. Yeah, I mean, it even has an error saying, caution, don't use with 3300X CPU. So, like, and 3300X is a 2600. Like, after a certain, was it after a certain BIOS update it can't? Alright, what about X570? Can X570... Oh, fuck. Well, I was trying to avoid buying a X570 board.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm going to have to. Because I think that's the only way I'm getting 2000 series support and 5000 series support. And I do really want to build this as future-proofed as possible, but with as many parts I currently have as possible.
Yeah.
I swore B550, unless after a certain BIOS update it kicks that out. I would have to like roll it back, but I really don't want to rip a 3900 out of HTPC just to roll it back
To the
yeah, because after a certain one it says you can't use a 3300 anymore, and a 3300 would be 2000 series because it's the APU one, and they always run back a gen.
Yeah.
Fuck me. And X570 boards are like $300, so it's like twice as much as what I paid for that. Now it'll be a really fucking nice motherboard. You know what I mean? But then I'm like, oh, do I then take that motherboard and put that in the server instead?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the server, that's just a X470. Well, Chad, have anything to say about that? But my night is pretty much crushed. We're gonna eat some pizza then, and I'll probably go to sleep afterwards. Like I swore. Here, AMD 2600 on B550. Yeah, X570, because technically X570 came out with the 3000 series, it supported the 2000 series.
Yeah.
So if I want... Oh, that kind of sucks, because then realistically my server is what would really want those extra lanes of the X570. You know what I mean? But then, like, remember that board I specifically got, because I can split it X8, X4, X4. I could find another board that can do that and then move that board into there. But then what's in there is a 1700, and X570 does not support a 1700.
Yeah.
And the reason why the 1700 is in the server is because the server is going to like more cores over speed. Like I would rather have 8 because I can give a VM 4 cores and still have 2 for the server part of it and 2 for another VM. Or even I'm probably going to end up giving a VM 1 core hyper-threaded.
An error occurred while sending the request.
That's probably Precision X checking for updates, I think, or something checking for updates. It probably didn't reconnect to the Wi-Fi automatically.
Yeah.
Fuck me. So now I gotta get Newegg to do a return, and I'll just tell him, hey, whenever I post, it just does this. And I better get a free return. let's do, here I'll pop you guys over on scene 4 here. Components, motherboards, AMD motherboards, sold by Newegg, AM4. We need X570 because apparently there are B550 boards that can, but it's like very specific ones that were like patched to add compatibility. Yeah, because some people are listing like specific models from specific vendors, like they added support.
Yeah.
But here's ATX motherboards, and I want to sort by cheapest. So the cheapest. Oh, I want new. I don't want fucking refurb motherboard. Sorry, but they're not that much cheaper either. Dude, I spent so much time like picking out that motherboard. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't really, but like I pondered about it for a week probably to determine. Oh, here, Preston. It was also totally not worth my time. I spent $165 on that motherboard. Phantom Gaming 4. 165 for an X570 chipset. Yeah. The Pro 4, which is the bigger version of yours, 173. Steel Legend, same version that I currently have, 189. Not on sale, obviously. I don't know what this Velocitia. The Extreme 4 is 240. I'll have to check out and look out their layouts and stuff. But I already opened that SSD because now if I go X570, I could probably use 2 separate SSDs and go with a 500 gig boot and a like you did with a QLC drive for your games. You know what I mean? But it's already opened and popped in there.
Mm-hmm.
I already spent the money on it. So I might as well just keep it at that point.
Yeah.
Because, 500 gigs for the home theater piece is about enough. I could read the manual, too, the X570 Steel Legend.
Was there anything I'm trying to think of with this? Because this thing's still pretty low. I got rid of I put it to motherboard instead of other thing.
Try not having it.
Yeah.
Like, well, not having it, not auto OC, but like
just on auto.
Just on auto and see what happens.
Yeah.
I know Squares was saying they were messing around with stuff where like performance is actually worse now, but because AMD had to get like thermals or power limits in check or something.
Gotcha.
So like performance. Like, it's not worse it's actually better, supposedly, in burst performance. Like, when you're doing shit.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and Cinebench isn't that long.
Yeah.
But that's supposedly worse because, they were pulling more amps than they were supposed to or something. And getting hotter. Not that you care about that,
Yeah.
but,
other people that don't.
Or, stock. If a company expects to stick a thing in there and stock run at a certain thing, then,
Yeah.
you may be farting around that for a while because I know he was running into that as well. And that's why we tried Process Lasso because that was for sure. As soon as we uninstalled that, we could reinstall it right after that. But go to Precision Boost Overdrive and just do. Oh, your max override is only 100 too. Did that do something?
I don't know why that. Yeah, I don't know why that was, but
give it a shit save. Give it a shot now. Because now it should be like nothing's changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, unless I missed a setting somewhere, which is possible.
Dude, I'm bummed about this. I put that thing together and do a little bit more research and figure out. Oh, it's a good thing I didn't order all those adapters on Amazon though now. because all those could be completely different directions.
Yep.
Oh no, the adapters for that. Never mind. Wi-Fi cards for that. I can order X570 just like yours was ordered with a Wi-Fi card though, so I might just do that. But God damn it. I guess that's what I get for trying to save money. Or not doing my research very well. I thought I did pretty good research.
Yeah, but I'm definitely getting hungry too. So
Yeah, put food's upstairs. We can go eat it. I'm done because I cannot go any farther. So I think we're done tonight, guys.
that looks like it's zooming. I could be wrong, but it looks like it's zooming way faster.
Well, you did change it from 100 to 200.
Yeah.
And you have it on auto.
Or it could be wrong, and it's just illusion.
Alright. Done. But yeah, we're killing the stream, guys. I'm gonna have to find a motherboard to buy now. Probably going X570, even though I was trying to avoid doing that. Probably not going to change the server though, unless I find an X570 board that can do X8, X4 off the CPU with an NVMe and still running a chipset, because that Asus board I have in the server is perfect for what I need. If you guys have any suggestions, hit me up over on Twitter at the Prophecist. The channel is always at Tech Exchange though, and we'll see you in the next one. Sorry this one had a little bit less progress, because we kept just breaking things, right? Like, we fixed your thing and then we broke it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we worked on my thing that should have been progress, and then I broke it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. High fives all around, right?
Yep.
And it's 1 o'clock, and I gotta work tomorrow morning.